What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today I'm coming at you with a learning how to play for ursarctic. So, if you do not know what ursarctic is, it is one of the new, I believe it's ancient legend or something like that. I can't remember the set's name, but it's one of the 3 new archetypes. And well, none of those archetypes are super good. I guess I haven't really played around with Sofa Chord, so I don't know much about it. But between Abyss and this, I mean they're okay. They're okay. Like they're fine. It's just they're not groundbreaking or anything. But anyways, so let's talk about ursarctic. So their main thing is reverse synchro summoning, effectively. So rather than adding levels together, you instead look at the difference in levels in order to determine what you can summon. Which is relevant because you have level 7s and 8s. So you're always going to start by going into 1, and we'll go over that monster first because it's kind of the most important card in the deck. That being Ursarctic Polari. It is a level 1 water beast synchro effect monster of 700 attack and 1000 defense. And this is a condition on all of the synchro monsters. There are 3 of them. Cannot be synchro summoned and must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 1 to the graveyard, those monsters being a tuner and a non-tuner. Now, what makes Polari so important is that, first off, upon special summon, it lets you activate Ursarctic Big Dipper directly from your deck, which is their field spell, which we'll go over after this. And it allows you to tribute level 7 or higher monsters to add or special summon ursarctic monsters from your graveyard. These are hard ones for turns. So this is very good. Very, very good. Because the other thing that ursarctic do is they tribute themselves. Like, all of them have the common summoning condition of you contribute as a quick effect, you contribute another level 7 or higher monster from your hand to special summon it from your hand. And then each of them have some unique effects past that if you have another ursarctic on the field. But we'll go over those in a little bit. So being able to continue to tribute stuff in order to make your other synchro monsters is great. But now though, let's go over Big Dipper. So as I mentioned, Ursarctic Big Dipper is the archetype's field spell. It has a few effects. The first of which being that if your ursarctic monster would need to tribute a monster to activate its effect, you can instead banish a level 7 or higher ursarctic monster from your graveyard. So that does mitigate a lot of cost, which is really good. It also has a kind of neat other ability that doesn't really come up much, but when it does, it's hilarious. That each time a monster is special summoned, you get to place 1 counter on it, and once per turn, if a monster is special summoned and an ursarctic synchro is on the field, except during damage step, you remove all counters from this card with a minimum being 7, then you just steal that monster permanently. It doesn't target, it's just something that you do. It's honestly really cool, and I like it quite a bit. But what we mostly want it for is the graveyard setup effect, because that is, this deck inherently goes minus just by playing its cards, so having a way to mitigate that cost is great. Now, though, let's go on to the synchro monsters, which you're usually going to make, and we'll be starting with what is, in my opinion, the better of the two, Ursarctic Serpentrion. Or Septentrion, sorry, it has a weird name. So Septentrion is a level 7 water beast warrior synchro monster, 3000 attack and 700 defense, and it has this effect. First, it has the common effect of its unique summoning conditions. However, what it does well in the field is that it negates the effects of face-up monsters without level that were special summoned from the extra deck, that being Link and Xyz monsters. And if your opponent would special summon a monster, except during the damage step, you can add an Ursarctic card from your deck to your hand. This is a hard one's return. So it lets you search for follow-up plays, as well as shutting down some pretty powerful monsters. So yeah, it's very good, on top of just being a big body. So very good card. The other one we have is Ursarctic Grand Chariot. It is also a level 7 Beast Warrior water monster. This one with only 2700 attack, though, but 700 defense. Obviously, it has the special summoning condition thing. And if this card is special summoned, you can target up to 2 other cards on the field and destroy them. And then once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets an ursarctic card you control, you can, as a quick effect, tribute a monster from your hand or field and negate the activation. So it is some pretty nice protection, as well as a good way to break boards. It's also pretty big as well, so not as big as Serpentin, but pretty good still. Now, though, let's go over how we're going to get to these bad boys. Starting by going over all of the main deck ursarctic monsters. So, I already went over their unique summoning conditions where they have to tribute a level 7 or higher monster from the hand to summon themselves. So, I'm just going to go over their unique effects here. Oh, wait, sorry, I actually did forget to mention one thing about these guys here and their summoning conditions. After you summon one this way, you are locked into leveled monsters for the turn. So, this is also worth mentioning. Also, very important. So, first off, we have Megabalus that, when special summoned, while you control another ursarctic monster, which is also a requirement of them, that these effects go off while you have another ursarctic. This one lets you target a card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. Megapolar lets you target a spell trap your opponent controls and destroy it. Megatanus lets you Book of Moon a monster. Then we have those are all the Beast Warrior ones. Now we have the Beast ones, which their theming seems to be a little bit different. They're a lot more searchy, recovery, supporty type things. Let's go over them though. Mikpolar here lets you search a ursarctic monster. Mictanus lets you summon a ursarctic from the grave, add to your hand, which is honestly a little more valuable. And Micbilus here lets you special summon another ursarctic from your hand. So all of these are good, and they're kind of all necessary to run just because you need so many high-level monsters for this deck to work. The only other monsters we're really running is Gameciel because it is a fun way to break boards, and it's not technically dead because it is level 7 or higher, as well as Mermail Abyss Megalo, which is just a very good card, especially considering that ursarctic just has a ton of recovery options, and if you get Big Dipper on the field, that's just putting resources in your graveyard, so it's really good. Now, though, to help us get through these boys, we have our Searcher, Ursarctic Departure, which lets you discard a card to add 2 ursarctic monsters from your deck to your hand. And it can banish itself from the graveyard to pay for a tribute cost. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Only thing is it can't be activated the same turn as sent to the graveyard. So, yeah, it is a hard once per turn. But a good Searcher, a good way to get to things, especially dropping some dead cards as you might have. The next Ursarctic spell, and the last one really, is Ursarctic Slider. Is a quick play monster reborn effectively. Lets you target an Ursarctic and that is banished or in the grave, special it. However, it cannot attack and it's destroyed during the end phase. And for the rest of this turn, you are locked into leveled monsters. It is a hard one to return. If you go first and make Serpentrin, that's usually what you'll search when your opponent tries to special summon something. As it gives you a pretty good follow-up play as you're going to have a lot of monsters ursarctic in your graveyard. So, yeah. Now, though, for others, just generic techs, obviously we have Abyss Scale of the Kraken. The other two are here. Just because Abyss Megalo does search one when it's summoned, so why not? You can just sort of switch these out as per matchup, I would say. Imperm, just because it's a good hand trap as well as effect negation. And my favorite tech card, Eisbahn, a very weird floodgate. As a continuous trap, that makes it so if non-water monsters are normal or special summoned while you control a water monster, change that monster to defense position. So, what I like about this so much is that if you get this set up while you have a Serpentrin on the field, your opponent, even if they could summon something, with a level that would not have its effect negated, there's a good chance, even if it could beat over, that keeps them from doing so, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, the only other thing we really have here in the deck is we have a Pot of Extravagance. That's why we run so many copies of all of our extra deck monsters. Nightmare Package in case we need removal. And the extra deck is a little more complicated. So We have a extra Gamma Seal here in case we ever want to run another in a hard go second matchup. Free Ash, as there are some decks that just lose to that. Free Lightning Storm in case we ever really want to go second. Free Cosmic for the spell trap removal. One Call by the Grave to deal with hand trappy decks. The other Abyss Scales, and just in case one will be more useful in a matchup than another with Megalo. And 2 more Big Dippers because, if you find out your opponent is like maining like Cosmic Cyclone or something and you lose your 1 Big Dipper is a big playmaker for you, so at that point you might want to be siding in more. But so that's basically the deck. I usually would go over the ideal combos, but there's not a whole lot to them. You just want to open as many ursarctics as possible and go to town. But yeah, if you're new here, I just go over a few replays. I show you what I liked, what I didn't like, what I thought could be better, what I thought was cool, etc. and so forth. And all that being said, I'll see you guys in the first replay. Okay, welcome to the first replay of Red Hot Chili Dong. We are tab as per usual. And this is, I'm pretty sure, the best replay I got because ideally this deck wants to go first. That's just what it prefers to do because you can set up a bit of a lock. And we will be able to with this. So our opponent's playing a bit of a Red Eyes variant. They're actually playing like one of the Dragon Knight decks. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. They do not have a Dragoon though. There's no Dragoon. Oh wait, yeah, I remember this replay now because I got this one a while ago, but I remember this now because I was always playing Red Eyes and I was hoping I would get to like steal Dragoon. I remember that. But anyways, let's get right into the replay. So we are going first. Obviously going to start with the Pot of Extravagance. Oh, it's a little loud. That should be better. Okay, so we start with the Pot of Extravagance, banish 6 to draw 2. Go ahead and gain 2 impermanents, so that's not bad. We activate the Departure, discarding one of the imperms in order to go ahead and get 2 searches. We search Megatonus and the Mike Polar, I believe. At which point we're going to tribute our Abyss Megalo to summon our Megabliss. And then we're going to go ahead and tribute our Megatonus to summon our McPolar, which will give us a search. So that's pretty fun. So we go ahead and get a Megatonus because Megatonus, again, kind of cool function of him. He's kind of like the only natural disruption the deck has, as they can be summoned during either main phase. Like, you don't need to wait. So if we can get an ursarctic on board, as well as like the field spell and stuff, we can just banish something, bring this out, and it's effectively a Book of Moon. So, pretty cool card. So we go ahead and go into Polari, which is going to let us activate the Big Dipper from our deck. Then we are going to activate Polari's effect to tribute to summon something from the grave. However, rather than tributing anything, we are going to banish from our graveyard the McPolar to go ahead and special summon our Megabliss, thankfully, who is a level 8. So with the unique effects, we are able to make a level 7 Synchro, which is going to be Sympetrion here. We have that. And then we also have our Icebond in case we need to deal with bigger monsters. And the Imperm as a additional disruption plus the Megatonus. So we're actually in a pretty good spot here. We're in a pretty good spot, as well as a potential search. So our opponent's going to go ahead and summon Time Wizard. We're going to go ahead and trigger our Icebond, and he's going to try to use the Time Wizard effect. At which point we are going to go ahead and try to pull out our Megatonus to try to stop it, set its face down. We banish the Departure to pay for cost, so we're going to summon it. However, the chain does, as a matter of fact, need to resolve fully first. But we did get another thing off of Big Dipper, and he blew up his own stuff, so that was good for us. However, he is going to get the Red Eyes alternative Black Dragon. Icebond is going to trigger. We're going to go ahead and get a search for a Slider. He activates the Red Eyes Insight, discarding the Flare. Goes ahead and just goes through the rest of his turn, setting up for the fusion next turn. So we activate Slider to go ahead and try to bring back our banished McPolar. He's going to activate Return to bring back the Flare Dragon, which is pretty alright. That is going to give us another counter, though. We summon our McPolar. Eyes Bond's going to trigger, which is going to also, the summon will trigger our McPolar, which is also going to trigger Serpentrion because the return activated, so we get another search. So we search our Megapolar. We were going to search Megapolar anyways because it can pop spell traps, but yeah. So then we're on to that though, at which point we're going to tribute some Megapolar, pop the Red Eyes Return, which is going to put the 7th counter there. We go ahead and make another Polari, which is going to let us make the other one, targeting his 2 monsters and destroying them. Pretty good for us. Alternative Black, though, is going to give him a monster back. However, Eyes Bond is going to put in defense mode, so we attack. And our opponent at this point just has the Red Eyes Fusion, and we are pretty well prepared because we can just steal whatever he fuses now. So our opponent's going to activate the Fusion to summon the Slash Dragon. However, Eyes Bond as well as Big Dipper is going to trigger, as well as Serpentrion, in order to steal his monster, get us a search, and switch it into defense mode. He's going to use his AD changer in order to switch our Serpentrion into defense. I didn't think that would be a Return of the Red Eyes. I thought that would just be something he could normal summon in order to beat over our Serpentrion, but I was wrong. So now it's on to us, where we're going to start by switching our monsters into attack mode and then just trying to attack for game. However, it activates the Red Eyes. Why didn't it work, I wonder? Let's see, Return of the Red Eyes. If you control a Red Eyes monster. Okay, so he would have had to control a Red Eyes monster, which he did not. So yeah, at that point, we're just able to attack for game. So that's ideally what the deck wants to do. Basically just set up a wall to create searches, as well as the Eyes Bond to make sure you cannot beat over this wall. Obviously, effect protection is a problem. Nibiru is a problem because it is exactly 5 summons to get to, this friend. So, got to keep that in mind when playing the deck. Maybe if you could fit in like a Appaloosa engine, that'd be great. The big thing is, though, you need to play a lot of ursarctic monsters in order to gain the benefits of the deck. But yeah, with that being the good one, I'll now show you a less good one. I'll see you guys in the next replay. Okay, welcome to the second and final replay with Carlo Yoyogi. Okay, Carlo Yoyogi. And they are playing counter fairies. Well, effectively counter fairies. Technically it's agents, but it's counter fairies. It's counter fairies. I'm sorry, but it's... Yeah. Okay, and we will be going first again, though, so let's go and get right into it. So we're going to start by tributing the Megapolar in our hand, as it doesn't have an active effect, to bring out our McBliss, which will let us summon the other Megapolar. At which point we're going to make our Polari, do the trick. Go ahead and revive that in order to get that, set up our Serpentrion, place another counter, and that's about as far as we can go from here. So our opponent's going to activate their Sanctuary in the Sky, Honest over us, unfortunately, at which point they are going to start going off. It is going to get us a lot of counters, though, but we can't utilize them too well because we no longer control an ursarctic synchro monster, which is unfortunate. So our opponent's going to start climbing, putting together some moves, pops our Big Dipper, makes a Boral Sword, gets some more draws, and is just going to continue to go, really. Obviously being able to reuse Venus is pretty cool. Pretty good. Able to set it for the Christia pretty easily. Creating the Parshaft link, which is going to continue to give him advantage. So, that's the end of the turn. Going over this board, so we have a Negate, Banish, VFD, something that can change battle positions, and Parshaft, which I'm pretty sure just lets you activate counter traps or something from the deck. Let's see, you can discard one card, add a Sanctuary in the Sky, or a card that specifically lists it from your deck to hand, or if it's already on the field, you can add a fairy from instead. If another face-up fairy you control is sent to the graveyard, except during damage step, you can banish a fairy from your graveyard to special a fairy from your hand whose Level is higher than that banished monsters. It is a hard... Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's a little bit of it like a protection-y effect. Okay, it's pretty cool. So we're going to draw the extravagance, activating it. It's going to be... We're only going to draw one because I knew we had the divine punishment, but we were really not in a position because Migbliss is only super good if you have another thing in hand to summon. We don't have enough to discard for Megalo, so we are in trouble there. So it's just going to go battle phase. I believe this is lethal. Yeah. And yeah, so that's the big problem with the deck. Against extra deck heavy strategies, it's pretty good if you can pull off the turn 1 play. It's solid. It's very fun, even. The primary issue is if your opponent has a main deck way to out your synchro monsters, there's just nothing you can do about it. There's just like an example, just summon Battle Hand Trap Honest over it, like, or just summon something bigger, because there are a lot of decks that can do that pretty easily for free, or even just effect destruction. Like ursarctic doesn't have any way to really deal with that. So it's a neat deck. I didn't mind playing it. I thought it was okay, but it's definitely not top tier by any measure, I would say. It's just yeah, it's just not good enough at what it does in order to justify playing it in a serious tournament setting, I don't think. But it is a very fun deck for casual play. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck. Is there anything I could have done better? Anything I did well? So on and so forth. And yeah, like if you liked, comment if you had something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.